If I could I please ask everyone to stand for the invocation and pledge? Heavenly Father, we thank you. Lord, we ask that you guide this council, guide myself, as we try to do our best to make the best decisions for our constituents in the city of Walton. Lord, we ask that you keep us from short-sightedness and pettiness, keep us safe, keep our families safe, and keep our town safe. In your Son's name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah.
All right.
I haven't drank out of it. You want one?
I just skipped straight to the invocation. I forgot to say. Oh. All right, I'll just talk loud. Welcome to the City of Walton City Council meeting for January 9th, 2024. Could I get a roll call, please, Devon?
Rose Beach. Here. Amy Long. Here. Terry Courtney. Here. Sherry Gaskell.
Here.
Dan Martin.
Here.
Matt Brown.
Here.
Few quick announcements. January 15th, City Hall will be closed for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. February 6th will be a caucus meeting at 6:30 in council chambers at City Hall. February 13th, there will be an events planning meeting at 6:15 at the Senior Center. And February 13th will be a council meeting here, 7 p.m. at the Senior Center. If I could I please get an approval of the agenda? It's two meetings. One's at 6:15 and the other follows at 7.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Rose Beach.
Yes.
Amy Long.
Yes.
Terry Courtney.
Yes.
Sherry Gaskell.
Yes.
Dan Martin.
Yes.
Matt Brown.
Yes.
Okay. And if I could I get an approval of the previous minutes for December 5th caucus meeting, December 12th council meeting? In the past, you have combined. You may do so if you choose or go separately.
Motion to combine and approve as one?
Second.
Rose Beach.
Yes.
Amy Long.
Yes.
Terry Courtney.
Yes.
Sherry Gaskell.
Yes.
Dan Martin.
Yes.
Matt Brown.
Yes.
All right. Citizens' comments, Mr. Morris?
Yes, sir, I do, but I waited until we go over ordinance 2023-13 for the second reading, or doing that?
You can do it now if you want.
I can do it now?
Yep.
Yeah. It talks about things, being in the street to go down a storm drain. And you may recollect, there was another meeting where I talked about that. And it was determined that there was really nothing to do, and that I offered to go around the neighborhood and pick up all the papers. And it was suggested I not do that because I might get in trouble. So how are we going to determine when those papers wash down the streets, whose responsibility it is according to this code? If a couple of them wash in front of my driveway, and I don't get them picked up in time, and they're not my papers, is that going to be me responsible for that or someone else?
I think this is more, I didn't draft this. This is sponsored by Councilwoman Long. Maybe she can answer that, but, I think this is more so geared towards leaves and grass clippings as opposed to papers.
Yeah, it doesn't have papers in it.
It does have litter in there. You could,
Mr. Morris, I don't think we're going to come, track you down for papers.
I don't think so either, but it seems like there would be
I'm up on my
something
street.
in
Yard
place
waste.
to
Like 10 a
prohibit
week.
people from doing that, to
think we're against one.
incentivize people not to leave their papers out until Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Because we typically get rain once a week around here, I think most of us would agree to that. And you could probably go in my neighborhood right now, and those in the paper my dog and I picked up this week, there's probably some out there. And we live on that hill, the storm drain is downward, where does water go? Down. So it drags all those papers with it right down to the storm drain. You can find papers there that have been run over by cars, so that tells you they've been there for a week or more. There are people there in the neighborhood, as other neighborhoods, that brought this up, about grass clippings and leaves being blown in the street. So how are we gonna enforce that, and how are we gonna know who does it? That's my question.
I think it's a very valid question.
So I'm just throwing that out. And then the next thing I'd like to know is what kind of preventative measures do we have to prevent a busload or truckloads or even a carload of illegal immigrants coming into our little city?
What was the
Because,
what
pardon
did you
me?
say? I didn't catch what you said.
Are there any rules in place or thoughts in place to prevent all these little immigrants, illegally coming into our country and then coming into our county or into our state? If I were a criminal, and I'll testify that I'm not, I would be looking for the.
How are we gonna prove that?
Pardon me?
How are we gonna prove that?
You don't have to. I have to.
Just Google him.
But how are we gonna monitor these people to tell if people are coming into our society illegally? Do we have anything in place for that, maybe? Did you know of?
Immigration law is a federal law, not a state law.
So there's nothing we could do. If somebody came into Boone County or the city of Walton illegally, there's nothing we can do about it? If the feds can't keep them up?
It's the Fed's responsibilities to enforce federal law.
Well, we know they're not doing that. So do we have anything to preempt that?
Well,
They
we
could
don't
just-
have any motels or anything for them to stay in.
Pardon me?
We don't have motels or anything for anyone to stay in Walton itself. They would literally have to rent a house. So that's just for Walton itself, though.
But we got a lot of empty warehouses.
Mr. Morris, this is going to get off track. It's a good question for debate but I think it's a law enforcement question. Major Mark, kind of answered that a little bit. And honestly, I think you run the risk, just my personal opinion, and the counselor might say the same, but, you run the risk if you see a house and it's got, several immigrants in it, and you send law enforcement there with no knowledge or no proof that they're illegal immigrants, and turns out they're here illegally, you open yourself up to some serious litigation there, I would think.
I'm trying to insinuate that I would do that.
Well, I didn't say you were, but I'm saying we as a city, I don't have an answer for that. We don't have the power or the money to just up and fly people to wherever, like Governor Abbott in Texas did. And I don't really think, I think we've got.
I'm not asking for that either.
What?
I'm not saying those people aren't welcome
Mr. Morris, I understand that. I just,
You don't have to stop.
no, you don't have to stop at all. I'm just curious what, I don't know how to answer that for you.
here. I got an answer for
Yeah, I think Major Mark, and I appreciate your question, and I know it's a concern. If you're on Facebook, you see that they're reporting that people are living along the railroad tracks, right? And so, and with that, and I know you're a Christian man, and I know that you don't see yourself above anyone, but there is a law in this country, and it's being overstepped, but Major Mark, I guess, offered the best answer, which is it's federal law.
Even if they're caught on a federal crime, nothing is done to them. Suppose someone illegally drives through our city, there's a pedestrian, maybe even a young child, walking across the street. The illegal alien has no driver's license, no right to be in our country, and hits that individual or damages some property. Can anything be done to him, or do we have to wait for the feds to come in?
Well, in that case, if a person's driving without a license, that's a violation of Kentucky law.
Okay?
If they recklessly or wantonly or intentionally, struck another person and injured or killed them, they violated Kentucky law. So in that case, there's Kentucky law that's applicable, whether or not the person's here legally or not.
but we see other states where that isn't happening. So my thinking is, if we got 50 states, this could possibly happen in the state of Kentucky, where the person kills somebody, they don't get deported back to their country. Some of them don't even get arrested. Some of them go to jail and they're out 2 days later. I mean, I believe that's happening in our country. If I'm wrong, somebody can prove me wrong. But I did 23 years in the Air Force. I worked for the federal government. I know how the federal government operates. I know my responsibilities as an American citizen. And I abide by it. And I have to abide by them when I go to a foreign country. Because I'm an American, on military orders to a foreign country, that doesn't give me a right to do whatever I want in that country. Even though I'm there legally. These people are illegally here doing things that we would never get away with as a legal citizen. That just frustrates me. That's why I got so upset and sat down. Because it's like urinating into the wind. I'll try to be polite.
Urinating in the wind. Well, and you know, honestly, I think that there's people that probably share your same concerns.
I know there are.
There are, and I could only say, well, what I can do about it is vote, you know?
Oh, I do that.
I know,
I wouldn't miss that.
absolutely.
January 15th, go do your.
I think the mayor and Major Mark have covered the issue pretty thoroughly. We just don't have the jurisdiction to enforce federal law. But like Major Mark said, if they break a city ordinance or a state law, we do have jurisdiction, and that's why we have the sheriff's office. And we do have a court system that you hear about people going in and out of the jail. That doesn't happen here.
Yeah, I know it's primarily big cities, and that's why I brought up the subject for a small city. This would be a great place to hide out. I could probably find 1,001 areas to hide out in this little city where you would never find me, if I wanted to do that. Don't worry, Major Mark, I'm not that kind of guy. I'm gonna do it.
John Jay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do any of that kind of stuff. I've been evaluated by the military, which is one of the requirements, whether you're going in or coming out. But anyway, I'm just concerned about all these things. My family lives here. My grandchildren live here. I want security for this city and for my family and all the residents of this city. I just took responsibility for the city, didn't I, Jerry? Because I'm the only one here representing the city. Chances are I'm the only one that's been here for every month, for a year or two, representing this city. So if I have a question or a concern, I expect I can bring it up and have it at least considered. So you gave me a great answer, Major Mark, that it's a federal thing. But the feds aren't doing nothing, the local states aren't doing nothing, and the local localities in our state aren't doing nothing. I'm originally from New York. New York City is the worst place to be right now in the entire world. People are moving out by the droves.
All right.
So it's a whole country is collapsing, and it just concerns me. So I want to make sure our city's safe.
And I appreciate your concern, and I appreciate you being here, and that's why each of us are fond of you because of your service, one in the military and two, your community. But and I'm sorry not to sidestep because I know that you and I probably share the same concerns, but he had asked another question about enforcing the grass clippings and beyond the flyers, right, Gabe? So.
That would be code enforcement. And possibly Public Works, if Public Works noticed it, they would pass it on to code enforcement. It would be complaint driven as well.
Is that still Mr. McDonald?
For the time being, Mr. McDonald is taking a position with the Kenton County Police Department, and he will be leaving soon. All right.
It's a big loss to all of us. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
For sure.
All right, Mr. Morris, if you don't mind, we appreciate your concerns, and we'll, keep our eye out, like I said.
But just to
We can-
reiterate what you said, because we discussed this at caucus, that it wasn't going to be, it was going to be the grass clippings, it was going to truly be based on complaint, right? Rather than someone driving around the city pointing out.
Yeah, we're not paying somebody to drive around, but if somebody blows a bunch of leaves into a storm drain and Public Works has to go have somebody clear the storm drain, that will be, that's not driving around. That is a situation, and it would be treated as such. But no, I'm not gonna have a code enforcement person that gets mileage 8 hours driving around the city looking for grass clippings.
Just if a code enforcement officer's out, and maybe somebody reported me and said it was me and came to my house, then what do I do?
Just what you said, I mean, you're down the hill and the water, the water washes it downhill. I mean, yeah.
I'll just keep picking up the newspapers and let the rest of it go. Because I think the newspapers are probably the biggest thing for storm drains because they happen every week.
And they're in
Little flyers.
plastic
So,
little
I'm
baggies.
good. I'll be here next month, by the way.
We'll see you then. Thank you, Mr. Morris.
Sure, thank you.
All right, moving on, Major Mark, Sheriff's Department.
All right, good evening, everybody. Happy New Year to you. There's the Sheriff's Department activity report for the city of Walton for the final month of 2023. There was 921 law enforcement events in the city. Some of those included 3 911 hang-ups. We responded to 25 alarm drops, 5 attempts to locate, 3 animal complaints. Deputies worked 19 accidents. They logged 19 business checks, attempted 57 criminal or civil summonses, investigated 3 criminal mission reports, one of which was the truck job at the Gaines house that I believe the mayor has successfully mediated. Responded to 15 domestic disputes, 4 complaints of intoxicated persons, 5 emotional crises, 1 juvenile trouble call, 6 motorist assists. They went on 2 overdoses, 8 requests for information. Deputies logged 408 spot checks, handled 17 suspicious activity reports, investigated 1 theft. They logged 20 traffic complaints. And we'll get back to Catalina at the end of the report here regarding traffic complaints. Deputies did 49 traffic stops, logged 12 vacation checks, handled 21 vehicle complaints. They unlocked 15 cars, went on 7 one-person calls. All told, they issued 61 citations and made 4 arrests. I want to double back first to the citation numbers. If you notice, like, citation numbers for November and December have been significantly higher than in past months. We use a CAD system. The fire department uses the same system where it's a computer-aided dispatch, where the dispatch center might dispatch a call. They use the radio, but also it's logged up in the computer in the car, and then that furthers the information to the computer system at dispatch. For the past 5 years, how I've been getting your citation numbers is when a deputy would clear a call or clear a traffic stop, they have to put in a disposition. So what I was counting was, any traffic stop or other call for service where they put in citation as how they cleared the call. But that wasn't necessarily reflecting all the calls where they might have cited somebody or arrested somebody, and also not necessarily, in the case of a traffic stop, the number of citations they issued. So what I've started doing since November is I can go on the state police website and do an extract for the geographical boundaries of the city of Walton, and they'll give me a list of every citation that's issued in your city. So it's a little better reflection of how the law is actually being enforced in the Walton area. Like for instance, deputies issued 61 citations in Walton in December. If I'd gone the other way and just looked at dispatch records, it would have been 13 instead of 61.
Wow, that's a big.
Yeah, and if that's also reflected in the annual report that I did for you all. So there were 801 citations issued in the city for the year 2023. Now, back to Catalina. Since since you brought up that complaint, deputies have monitored that 11 times. They've stopped 4 cars and issued 1 citation. Hopefully it's happened to the pack. Anything else I can answer for y'all, or any questions?
I will note that I thought, one day I did a slow and go at a stop sign, and I thought the irony if I'm the one pulled over, but you know, what's fair is fair.
That has happened. You know how many times like a deputy would pull somebody over and give them a ticket, and the person will go, but I'm the person who complained.
Well, you had a valid complaint. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Moving along, Fire District, Chief Vest. Chief Vest.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hope everybody had a happy and safe holiday season. Everyone should have a copy of the report that we do monthly. This report provided you is for the entire calendar year 2023. But all the breakdowns and everything, I'm not going to stand here and bore you all with all those numbers and statistics. You'll also look at that if you're leisure, if you like. But a brief synopsis in the year of 2023, and this report reflects only Walton Fire District, so it does not include mutual aid assistance that we've provided throughout the year. But within the fire district, the calendar year 2023, we have made 1,649 different incident responses. Out of that 1,649 responses, 866 of those was within the city limits, which is the equivalent of 52.5% of our total responses. The remainder of the district was 783 separate incidents, which was approximately 47.8%. During the calendar year 2023, we responded to 9 structure fires throughout the year. And when I classify something as a structure fire, the building itself was actually involved. So this isn't somebody's smoke detector went off, we got there, and a garbage can smoldering inside, or maybe nothing at all, maybe a faulty alarm, something like that. This was true structure fire responses. It hasn't been too many years ago, and I was talking to Jerry earlier, just a few years ago, you know, our statistics was 1,300 runs in a year, and we're pushing 1,700 now. And we may have one structure fire, true structure fire response about one a year, one every 2 years. And now we're up to 9 per year. So with all the building and the growth, not only in the city, but throughout the fire district, we see things getting busier, things changing rapidly. So yeah, we're doing our best to meet the needs of a growing community as best we can, continuing to get new equipment, apparatus, increase staffing, and as we're able to financially. So, anybody have any questions?
Chief, it's not really on topic, but just for my personal curiosity, when there's a burn ban in effect, you know, if I'm driving along, I see a fire out there, somebody's burning brush or something. Is that something where you guys want that call, or is it something where you kind of just let it slide, you know, that time, if they're not being dangerous?
I mean, we'll come out whenever we get a call or notification or something like that, and we'll go out and we'll assess the situation. Sometimes it is within the parameters of the law and is allowed, depending on specific situations, circumstances. Sometimes it's not, and definitely if it's being done in an unsafe manner, we'll put the fire out. We don't go cite people for, you know, and really beat up on them or anything, you know, verbally about it. We just try to educate people, you know, tell them why the burn ban is in effect. Here's the parameters of the burn ban. Here's what's allowed. And we try to handle that in a pretty civil manner with folks. And 99% of the time that goes over well. works out for everybody.
Gotcha.
So, you know, in short, if you see something going on like that, you know, if you got any concern about it, don't hesitate to call Lynn County Dispatch. Our non-emergency number is 859-371-1234. If you have an idea of what it is being burned, approximate size, just an estimation, is it close to any trees, you know, wooded areas, structures, anything like that, and is somebody there watching or not? And that's all helpful information to us.
Appreciate it.
Anyone else?
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
And last but not least, Matt Bogan, Cardinal Engineering.
Everybody. I have a fairly short report this month. No real updates on the bridge project. We're just working on their design for the pole location to maintain clearance around the bridge, but they didn't have an ETA on when we expect to see that or anticipate cost for that relocation. On our road projects, everything, all of our 2023 road work is wrapped up. The last couple concrete pours got done right before Christmas. Got the final invoices, just need to go out and do a punch list inspection, make sure there aren't any issues that need to be corrected before we pay that out. We also, Jerry and I talked about the recurring drainage issue on Nicholson Avenue where it meets Main Street. You see that area where there's the manhole, the asphalt kind of busts up. It's just has groundwater issues that seeps up, especially this time of year, and then of course when it gets cold, it freezes over. It's just been a nuisance for years. So we applied for a permit from the state, since it's a state route, just to put in a perforated pipe right below the pavement, just below the curb line or behind the curb line. And the state's got a catch basin that's right there by the intersection, so just tie into that and get that water out of the street. So help us, help Public Works not having to go out and salt that repeatedly. Also, helps the state, they don't have that in their gutter all the time. And then following up on the guide signage for the games tavern, I went out and recorded the signs that are out there and looked for places that made sense to add them, which is basically both of the I-75 ramps, coming off the ramp from Walton Nicholson Road, the signal there at 25, and then southbound, if you're going north on Main Street, there's a sign indicating turn at Nicholson Road, or Old Nicholson Road, but there is not when you're heading southbound, so I had one there. Also, the signs that are out there have the Main Street Historic District marked as well, so just put up some additional guide signs for that as well. So I can get with the state and see what needs to be done about that, getting that started. And then
Matt, on that as well, Ridgewood Road, the new, where you turn to go south, that's the main one that I really want.
Okay.
They've got one
This is Benton.
with Benton Farms.
Okay, yeah, I had that too. Yeah, I consider that, some attractions will have like 5 signs, which that would put it about in that area. South, there's nothing out there currently. And then on the splash pad, the contractor in Public Works has been working on putting in the supply and the drain lines. Jerry and Drew were out there today, putting in the drain line to the stream because we've got a nice puddle with all the rain we've had. So we're getting there, getting things prepped so we can work on putting in the pad and fixtures with the weather crews. So, any questions from council?
Matt, with the work, I'm guessing Duke was doing it on the utility poles, on Main Street where they're putting in the steel poles.
Right.
Do you know if they're taking down the wood poles? They're not, Gabe? Okay. And are they done? Like, is that all they're doing and they're moving on, or?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
They usually do their thing.
They are
Get a call or anything, so.
they are putting in the steel poles or anywhere throughout the county, throughout northern Kentucky. I guess really in their region that, where there's a wooden pole but a main power line. So like the heavier duty stuff that's up at the top, that's what they're switching over. I could call Ken Muth, our government representative from Duke, and find out
I'm
more
not-
tomorrow. I'm due to give him a
Yeah.
call anyways. I'll just shoot you a
It's just
text.
curious, no real reason.
All right.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
All right. And moving on. First item of business is a second reading of ordinance 2023-13. Ordinance of the City of Walton, Kentucky, amending Chapter 92 of the City of Walton Code of Ordinances in order to provide that depositing of leaves, grass clippings, and other yard waste on the sidewalk, streets, storm sewers is prohibited as a public nuisance and providing for civil fines for public nuisances. Counselor?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The Mayor just read the title to the ordinance, and the summary includes the language that's in Section 1 of the ordinance. As he indicated, we would be adding a provision to declare the following a nuisance. No person shall sweep, blow, discharge, throw, allow, or otherwise deposit yard waste, grass clippings, leaves, sweepings, litter, or other matter onto a sidewalk, street, or roadway, or into the storm sewer, drain, gutter, or catch basin, or cause the same to be done. And in Section 2 provides reference to the penalties for violation of that nuisance ordinance. So that is the second reading, and it's up to council. You can adopt this ordinance by motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Bruce Beach,
Yes.
Amy Long,
Yes.
Terry Courtney,
Yes.
Sherry Gaskell,
Yes.
Dan Martin,
Yes.
Matt Brown.
Yes.
All right.
Well, on the next deal here, I'd like the motion to go in a closed session, and, Counselor, if you could provide the
Yep.
reasoning.
That would be KRS 61810-1B, where public discussion of acquisition of real estate by a public agency would interfere with our ability to negotiate the proper price, could affect the value of the property under consideration.
Thank you, sir.
But may I ask, so by moving it into closed session, it's simply about affecting the price, but not being, I mean, we are still able to communicate to the city that, or the citizens, that this is something that the city is looking to purchase.
Absolutely, and that's why the resolution is on the agenda. But if you want to discuss the price, that's what the closed session would be for.
Understood.
Then we would need to come out into open session and adopt the resolution. There is no price included on the resolution. Once the contract is entered into, then it can become public.
I'll second Matt's motion to go into closed section.
Bruce Beach,
Yes.
Amy Long,
Yes.
Terry Courtney,
No.
Sherry Gaskell,
Yes.
Dan Martin,
Yes.
Matt Brown.
Yes.
Still got the red behind you.
All right. To return to Councilwoman Snowden, we are back from closed session. So, proceed, need a motion to pass resolution number 2024-01, a resolution of the City of Walton, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a purchase contract for the IMI real estate located at 40 Depot Street in the city.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Rose Beach. Amy Long,
No.
Terry Courtney,
No.
Sherry Gaskell,
Yes.
Dan Martin,
Yes.
Matt Brown.
It's never bad to own property.
Yes.
They're not making anymore.
Mike, I'm unfamiliar with resolutions, forgive me.
Mayor breaks a tie.
Yes. All right.
I'm sorry, what did you say that there's a tiebreaker here and he's the tiebreaker?
Right,
Correct.
mayor breaks a tie.
Well, council comments, Rose Beach. Amy Long, Councilwoman Long?
Did you just bring this up?
Yes.
Okay, I missed the elephant right now. I just want to say that as far as this, I would be more apt to be on the yes side if there was, this is the vision for this. Not, it could be this, or it could be that, it could be that. But because I do agree that owning property is not a bad thing.
That's right. They're not
Never
making
is a
any
bad
more.
thing. Right. Get buy that dirt. But yeah, just it could be this and it could be that, and we do have so many other, money that needs to be going towards like the sewage thing, and there's just a lot. So,
I understand that.
I like more direction than it could be.
Well.
But yeah.
We talked about spending money. It's not my turn for a rebuttal, I'm sorry. I'll talk with
Right.
you online, but, it doesn't make sense to, have you a plan or, for no reason. But the ideas, anyway. Councilwoman Courtney?
Nothing.
Councilwoman Snowden?
I'm good.
Councilman Martin?
Just noticed this. Do you guys know about Gem City Tire coming in off Richard Knock?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's,
I didn't know that either.
yeah, it looks like they got just for you guys' records, like a 21-acre lot when you're heading down Mary Grubbs on the left, going into Richard Knock.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know is that like I imagine it's like a tire warehouse.
Warehouse, it's not, they're not,
It's not a
they're not,
retail
it's not
location.
another tire, it's not another tire shop.
Gotcha. Do you know when they're breaking ground and all that? Have you heard anything?
I can find out for you really quick.
I don't. Doesn't matter. Good.
All right. I'll follow up on
Yeah,
that.
that's all I have as far as comments tonight.
That's a good question.
Councilman Brown? Any comments?
I have nothing. When did you see that?
All right.
It's just not like
I'll make a quick comment.
That's one reason I mean.
Little, one, Happy New Year to everyone. Two, nothing really city related, just a little personal, Michigan Wolverines, as you know, won their first title since I was 16 years old. This tie has been on the deer in my office for, I don't know, since I've been mayor. This is the only thing I have of my best friend from college that passed away. We were both got to be friends over our love for Michigan football. Gavin and I never got to see a championship, but we were very excited when Coach Harbaugh was asked. So, a big Gav, be remiss if I didn't say something other than that. And if you would, please say a prayer for my mother.
She okay?
High blood sugar, hospital.
She's in the hospital.
I'm so sorry.
All right, and with that, could I get a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
All righty.